Welcome to lesson 4 of the design project. With this, we are going to look at creating a banner in this lesson. Now, I don't mind what software you use, as I said earlier with the logo. I'll go through a few bits and bobs with you, but you are free to choose whatever software you want. Before we start with this, I just want to run you through how I'm going to be marking it. You're going to need to create 2 banners, and you're going to need to explain both of your designs, what you like and what you dislike about them. You can also develop, then you choose one of them, develop it further, and then you're going to export your design ready for publishing, and then you're going to upload your pupil booklet and your final banner then up to Moodle. It's important you keep your final banner safe as well, because you'll need it when you start building your website. Now, how are the marks going to be dished out? Well, there's 8 marks in total, 2 marks for 2 designs, an additional 2 marks for appropriate annotations, 1 mark for the final banner, and then we'll give you extra marks then for your final sort of annotations and then final submission to Moodle. Now, banners are very, very, very important, and it's something you'll see right at the top of many websites. As you can see with this really quick example, you've got 3 different banners here. Now, some of them will have a range of images on them. Some of them will have maybe some text on them. You may have some funky designs, line shapes, special offers. Obviously, these are random designs I found on the internet. These are probably aimed at shopping or even a travel site at the bottom there. But you can see they're quite easy to read. The text on them is large. They do have smaller text then underneath as well, like a slogan or a strapline if you needed one. This is actually just text padding just to show you what can go there as well. Now, to bring it a little bit closer to home, these are examples that I've found for bakery sites in some places. I went to Google and had a look to see what I could find. So you can see this one's quite nice. It's got a nice simple background with a lovely close-up of sort of cupcake with a unicorn style design on it. Very nice, very eye-catching. Here's another one, which is again same sort of thing. It's got a, I don't know what the proper name for that cake is. I should know, but it's obviously very, very nice. It's eye-catching, and the rest of the image is free for text, so it's not going to detract. It's not too busy. So you've got a nice close-up there of the cake, and you've got some lovely swirly sort of writing there, and then you've got something that's a little bit more readable there underneath. And then the last one, if you look at something like this, they've got some form of image there at the top, which looks as if it's some sort of sauce dribbling down, and then you've got a nice shade in the background. You've got a banner then spanning the middle, and you've got sort of clip art style images either side. Obviously, you make whatever you think is best, and you know, I want you to try and make something as professional as possible. In my eyes, probably that is going to be less professional looking and something like that, or even that, but it's your choice. Now, in terms of sizes, your banner needs to be a specific size and width, and I'll show you why in a moment. Ideally, this is the sort of dimension I want you working out of. So 1600 by 300. You can change these numbers around if you'd like, and if I just switch to my other site now, I'll show you. What we're essentially going to be doing is, when we build your site up, you're going to be using something like this. The reason I got Hub up there is because we're going to use Spark now as a quick tutorial, but we're going to be basically placing a banner in this area here, right at the top of the site. And this is 1600. I think it's actually by about 230 this one is. But the reason I've said make the banner a little bit bigger is quite simple. If we change this site, I just want to show you here now, built in with this, we've got different themes that we can use. So you might choose, say, this theme. And with this theme, the banner size is obviously a little bit different. But if you make your banner big enough, we can then scale it, we can resize it, and we can make it fit then into pretty much anything that you need. Okay. Now, if I just go back to the presentation really quickly, just to remind you, you will have a completed pupil booklet by the end of this, hopefully, and you should have your final banner as well. Now then, let's go back to Hub for a second. If you wanted to use Adobe Spark, obviously log in a Hub and then click on Adobe Spark. It takes a few minutes to come up, and then once it's loaded, you'll have this sort of page appeared. Now you can use the other software, which was Photopea. Photopea is a great piece of software, and the tutorial above this I'm sure you've all looked at, you've worked through. I don't mind which piece of software you use, just be consistent and obviously make sure you know how to use either software before you make your final design. If I just go back to Spark for a second, with Spark what you'll do is you'll click on custom design or custom graphics, and then you'll need to set the width at 1600, and then you can set your height there at sort of 300-ish. Now obviously this is going to create a wide screen banner, so this is going to be quite a narrow type banner, and you've got your add options on the side, so you can add in whatever you want. One thing that I probably haven't spent a lot of time on, if you go into and choose say a colour, let me go for, I'll change this colour for a second. We'll go for a lighter. Yeah, we'll go for a light pinky type colour. If we click on add and then you go to the icon, you've got loads of different icons there that you can search for, right? So you can look for various different things. So for example, if I just on this one just put a square in as an example. As before, if you move it around, you can change things, and if you click on it, then click on the colour on the side, you can obviously then change it to match your style. The one last thing that I was going to show you, which I didn't go through before, when you go to the image option and you go to find new photos, if we look for cakes, just as a typical example, you might not find anything you like with this library, but what you have got, you've got the option then to change libraries to this, to Pixabay, which is then a completely different image search. So you might find that there's obviously a little bit of a difference in images that come back, maybe a difference in quality as well. Okay, and it's the same thing if you go back to the photo, find free photos, and if you wanted to add one of these in, click, drag, or single click rather, and then if we for now pin it to the background, you can move this around. You can scale it using the scale tool, and you can also rotate it then using the rotate tool. Obviously think about the images that you are using. With this image, it's probably not going to be great spanned, so ideally what I would probably do with this image is I would set the background to a certain colour, and then once I've done that, I'd probably then look at using the same photo again, but this time move it freely and then have it spaced, say, on one side of my design there. Okay, and then that would allow me to have some text or some other type of image there as well. You can, if you've already got images that you want to use, when you click on add and photo, if you want to upload your own photos, you can. Just click on the upload photo and then you can drag things in as well. It makes it a little bit easier than obviously trying to find on the search all of the time. One thing that I'd like you to remember is once you're done, you need to save this. Don't forget, name it at the top here. So banner design 1, and then press enter. What that'll do is it'll come up there with a saving message. That saves it online for Adobe Spark. And then once you're done, click on the download and then download it either as a JPEG or a PNG, your choice, whatever smaller, I don't mind. So if I start the download, then that should download it into my downloads folder by default, so I can save it and then I can use it later on. Okay, please remember, once you're done, put the work in the pupil booklet and then send the pupil booklet and your final chosen banner back on Moodle. Okay, best of luck, and if you need me, send me a little email.